Hey guys, and welcome to a potentially continuing series, or not, the first episode of, that is. I mentioned on Twitter, for those that follow me on Twitter, and if you don't, you should, about what's going on the channel. And one of the things is that right now, Forgecraft 2 is a bit of a ghost town, and you saw the last episode of Forgecraft 2 where I am going to stop running around here for a second, just stare out onto the lovely landscape, where I saved the cruciform building so that we can continue it next series. Now, that's still entirely meant to be happening. But because Forgecraft 2, and it's nearing the end, and this happens towards the end of a server life cycle with Forgecraft anyway, it's turned into a ghost town, and if you follow Direwolf as well, you'll know that he stopped doing his Forgecraft 2 series, and for this season anyway, for much the same reason I'm making my decision to do so about a month later. And the reason for that is that, one, there's not many people around at the moment, and two, the mods that are on there at the moment are very much a repeat of last season. There's been some updates to Britannia and stuff like that, but there's been no major activity on mod front, so there hasn't been anything exciting or new that's needed to be tested or tried out, really in that way. There's been nothing major, no major revisions, etc. So, what are we doing now? Well, this is a potentially short run series, but also potentially a long run, depends on how you guys receive it. We are playing on TTFTCUTS private server at the moment. It's a test server for his mod pack that he's putting together. The mod pack is a GRAEGified based mod pack. The intention of it is to try and prove to people that GRAEGified can be fun. Because, and I agree with Cuts here, that GRAEGified tends to get a bit of a stigma for being a not fun mod or compilation. And the reason for that is because of how hard it is, how complex it is. And so Cuts has put together this pack to try and prove that GRAEGified can be fun. So there are a couple of things that are universally considered a little bit off-putting to newbies has been removed, like the fact that we're not stuck in permanent adventure mode, which is something that GRAEGified encourages. And also there's a whole lot of mods that accompany GRAEGified. As you can see, we've got Agricraft for one, which I'm doing some work on at the moment, and I'll get to that in a bit once I've finished rambling on this intro, and a lot of other ones, as you will see, and we'll go through this mod list very, very soon. First thing I want to do though is I'm just working on some Agricraft crops. I'm going to switch them around before I go through the list with you, or well, yeah, switch two around. So this is the way that I do Agricraft crops. It's usually better to do a plus sign, but for whatever reason I like doing it in a line like this. You'll see what I mean if you've never seen Agricraft in action. Yes, we have an improvement. As you can see, the seed is a 10-9-10, which is better than a 10-7-10 and a 10-8-10. And the intention, obviously, with Agricraft, if you've never played it, it may not be that obvious, but the intention is to get plants up to 10-10-10 for best results. You don't have to, but there's very little reason, if you're going to breed a plant, there's very little reason not to go all the way. So I'm going to take out the worst one of the two, and then we put in the 10-9-10. We throw it out into the void, the old one, and we wait for that to grow up, and then we put a cross crop there, and you'll see that in action. Now we're going to repeat the same thing here for this eggplant. I'm doing food at the moment, and I'll explain why after I've... This is going to be a very wordy episode, by the way. I'm doing food because surviving out here is harsh. 443. And that's a 333 and that's a 233. So off goes the 233. Put another crop down. And the 443 takes its place. And then you can be thrown out to the void. Great. So that's those done. Now we'll look at the mods that are in Cuts pack. It's very cool. Cuts tends to pick mods that I pick. He's a Minecraft player after my own heart. He likes a certain level of complexity, which you won't find in things in FTB and whatnot that often, which are geared towards more casual play. And this is casual. Like, you know, Minecraft setup really. I don't like calling it casual, or the idea of casual games or whatever, because it implies that you put in about 5 minutes and walk away. But you can do that with complex games as well. There's nothing wrong with that. Anyway, mod list. We have Advanced Rocketry. I've never used this. It's an IC2 add-on. It looks like... actually, it looks like it might be a GRAEGified add-on, just from the graphical style of those chips. Because I think those are GRAEGified chips. Or based on GRAEGified chips. Not too sure. But from the sound of things, like there's a satellite construction thing somewhere around here. Launch pad, yeah. It's about sending things into space. It's not like... Nope, I can't remember the name of the mod. There's another very popular mod where you go into space and you visit the moon and Mars and whatnot. It's not that. I don't know what it is, to be honest. I've never used it. We've got AgriCraft, which means it's exciting for me, by the way. We've got AgriCraft. AgriCraft is a crop growing mod. As you can see, it's all this stuff that I was just doing a couple of minutes ago. It's not this stuff. If it doesn't have 4 sticks in the corners, it's not AgriCraft. Because everything you do in AgriCraft, you plant via crop sticks. On the other hand, these are Pam's Harvestcraft. Mostly. We have Ancient Trees, which is a awesome mod which brings extinct trees. Like, these are trees that used to exist in our reality, Earth. But they've gone extinct. And the idea of Ancient Trees is to bring them into Minecraft. And it's a mod by Scott Killen. Scott Killen is the guy that got me on Forgecraft, by the way. Scott Killen is an awesome dude. And I used to do some test stuff because he used to do EBXL, extra biomes, extra large. And we used to play that, or rather, I used to test that for him, and that's how I got on Forgecraft. It's all thanks to Scott Killen. He's the man. We've got Plating Logistics 2. As you can see, there's no way in heck we're getting Applied Energistics 2 anytime soon. That mod comes a lot later when you're talking about RegTech. We've got Automagi. Now, Automagi is... I love Automagi. It's a mod for Thaumcraft, which adds a lot of magical styled automation. Think item tubes, think redstone cables, think item organization. This kind of stuff you see in a lot of tech mods, done in Magic. I love Automagi. There's a whole lot of other stuff. It's a very varied mod, and it will take a lot more than this episode to explain what it's capable of, and I look forward to being able to show you, or maybe Cuts will show you, because he's the one that seems to be getting into Thaumcraft on this server. I'm blasting through GRAEGified to get things moving along for the people that are on the server. No one's on the server with me at the moment, actually, because everyone that plays on this server tends to wake up in about an hour from now. It's 1 in the morning here, my sleep's a bit nuts. We've got Avaricia. Now, if you haven't heard of Avaricia, this mod, how do I explain it? This mod is kind of like the response to power creep in Minecraft modding. What I mean by power creep is that mods often try and one-up each other. Or not intentionally. It's not like somebody looks at another mod and goes, I want to make something more powerful than that mod has. It's more like somebody looks at another mod and goes, I want something that is more powerful than that, right? It's not in conflict with the other mod, it's just that they want to do something more. So you get what's called power creep, whereas like one mod comes along, introduces tools that make vanilla tools look useless, and then another mod comes along that adds tools which make that mod tools look useless, and then another mod comes along and makes tools that make that mod's tools look useless. So what Avaricea is it's kind of like it's both a fun mod, it's actually really fun to use, but it's also just a giant joke. It's basically making fun of Minecraft's modding community's tendency to do power creep, and I will show you what I mean. If we make the world breaker, we've got this enormous crafting grid where we've got neutronium ingots, infinity ingots, and a crystal matrix. And if we want to look at the infinity ingots and how we make that, we've got neutronium ingots and infinity catalysts and the crystal matrix. The crystal matrix is the cheapest thing in this recipe at this point, and it's for one of these ingots. A crystal matrix is 2 nether stars, 2 diamond lattice. What's a diamond lattice? 5 diamonds. So, a neutronium ingot is neutronium nuggets, which is pile of neutrinos, which you get from bees. A neutronium bee, and then we go through here, and it's a scanned queen and an aquatic queen, and whoa. So that's the world breaker. If you're wondering, what does that ridiculous recipe get you? It gets you a pickaxe with fortune 10, right? Something which is not achievable most of the time. That would be ridiculous, having fortune 10, but there it is. And it can turn into a sledgehammer, which takes out an entire world chunk in one swing. So that's a 16 by 16 by 16 area. It will just blast it open with one swing of your mighty hammer. And all the other things tend to go in a similar direction. This is actually the cheapest weapon you can make, and it's still ridiculous. You've got even a super bow, a ridiculous blood orb for blood magic, cosmic cones, cosmic meatballs. Oh yeah, superfood. The superfood is obviously so that you'll never go hungry again in your life. A infinitato, which is obviously the Britannia tiny potato turned into a infinite potato. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous mod, and it's so much fun. But we're not even probably gonna see Avaricea in this series, because it would take some serious playtime to even get some basic Avaricea recipe done. I mean, it's just that crazy. Actually, I can check the recipes. What else can we make? Tell us, game. Well, 1, 2, 3. No. Here we go. Well, it's still a little bit buggy because it's still a little bit new. Yeah, maybe if we go backwards. No, it's just going into shape crafting. Oh well, there's lots of different things we can make with Avaricea. Anyway, next mod. Baubles. Goes along with Thorncraft, lets you make little accessories for yourself. BC, so Buildcraft, all the different Buildcraft parts. Although I think Cuts has disabled liquid transport pipes. Intentionally. And hopefully this episode we're actually going to do something regarding liquid transport. As you can hear, there's something hissing in the background, and I'll get to that in a bit. We've got Bibliocraft, always useful. It's a mod which adds useful little shells and utilities and things. It's based around the idea of books, hence the name Bibliocraft, but it extends into a whole lot of different other things nowadays. We have the extensions for Bibliocraft, which extend to biome mods. So we've got Natura, Extra Biomes, Extra Large, and Biomes Aplenty. We actually have both biome mods on this server, and it seems to work nicely because Cuts is using his own mod, alternate terrain generator, to kind of act as warden to those two mods. So there's Biomes Aplenty, which is a big biome mod. We've got Blood Magic, Botania, Buildcraft, some compatibility mod for Buildcraft, I'm not sure what that is. Carpenter's Blocks, which I'm sure by now you guys are familiar with me and my love of Carpenter's Blocks. If you're tuning in for the first time, Carpenter's Blocks lets you make all sorts of awesome detailed architecture, and lets you texture blocks how you like. You'll notice that if I bring it up, it all looks like this wood stuff. The intention is once you've placed this in the world, you then take another block. It has to generally be a normal block like this cobblestone or something that is a cube with a texture, just for simplicity's sake. And then you apply that texture to whatever you've made. So it lets you have a lot of flexibility with how things look. Then we've got Chisel. It's another decorative mod. It's another favourite of mine. It goes really well with Carpenter's Blocks because Chisel is all about those basic blocks that look different. So it's perfect. We've got Companions. Now, I've not played with Companions, but I have managed to get myself a companion and figured out what it does, although it seems to be missing right now. I might have lost it when I died at one point. Yeah, well, there's these scrolls, and maybe Batman. I got a Batman scroll, and what that did is when I put it here, it gave me a little companion that flowed. It was flying over my left shoulder. It was a little bat. So I think that's what the rest of these do. It puts a little companion. They don't do anything, they just look cool. From the looks of things anyway. This, by the way, is an extension of Witching Gadgets, this interface here, which is by Blue Sunrays. And we'll get to that in a bit, because we do have that on the server as well. We have Decocraft, another decorative mod. Also another favourite of mine, although I don't think by this point in any of my series I've actually ever got around to using Decocraft. It's a shame really, because it's really cool. It adds just little voxel models and things that you can put into the world to just make things more visually interesting. They don't generally serve any functional purpose, except I think maybe the beds. I think you can actually use the canopy beds as a real bed. We also have Ender Storage. This is a old classic, obviously. Ender chests just work like vanilla Ender chests, except you can color code them so you can have multiple rather than just one channel. And then you've got a liquid version of the same thing and a pouch version of the same thing. Then you've got it Futurum. Because we are on 1.7, what it Futurum does is it backports things from 1.8 and 1.9. And I guess once this it Futurum for 1.8 would backport things to 1.9, blah blah blah. Just introduces things that are from those versions of Minecraft back into the older versions of Minecraft. It's pretty cool like that. So we've got the Purple blocks from 1.8, we've got Rabbit and Lamb, we've got Prismarine. I don't know whether we've got the particular new potions. Yeah, it's that new potion that makes enemies light up with a white outline. I don't think we have those, but we do have the potion arrows. And we do have armor stands, different coloured fences, end rods, different wood doors, banners, inverted daylight sensor, etc. Extra cells 2, add-on for applied energistics to. Lets you basically, I believe the mod started off as a way to introduce liquid to your applied energistics system, and then it extended off into bigger storage systems and a walrus. Yeah, we get some ridiculous sizes for these. And next up we have Extra Biomes Extra Large. It's another biome mod. I believe this is the granddaddy of biome mods. I can't be sure though. I think there was one just before this, and this mod was a derivative of that one. Because the one that this came from was more fantasy based, and this one wanted to ground itself more in reality. But yeah, this is Extra Biomes Extra Large's content. So we have different kinds of wood mostly, and some different dirt and stone and stuff. Then Forbidden Magic, which is a add-on for Thorncraft. It's kind of the does a couple of mods, but it started, I believe, as a cross mod for Blood Magic and Thorncraft. Marries those two mods together. But the idea is that you're doing dark magic. It nowadays extends into Britannia as well. Yeah, because the Dreamwood, got the Profane Rods and stuff. So that's cool. I think there's one other mod that I'm forgetting that it also extends into. But it's not being obvious just by mousing over things. Dum dum dum. Alright, next we have Forestry for Minecraft. This one is actually the beta version. This one is, you can access it. Even though I say it's beta, it is available. It's Forestry 4. It's just the continuation of Forestry, basically. Because the older mods in Minecraft community tend to have these periods where they shut down for a long time because the mod author that was working on them tend to walk away because they need a break, or they just don't want to do any more mods or anything, because obviously modding's a hobby. No one's chained to a desk made to work on these mods. And then I believe this Forestry 4 is a continuation by a dev, and I can't remember their name. It might be, but don't take my word for it, it might be Ace, I think, who's continuing it. ASIE. But I can't be totally sure of that, because I think Ace is also working on the Buildcraft right now, because Buildcraft went through a similar thing recently. And Forgecraft. Forgecraft? Forestry, by the way, is a really old mod that, it basically added an extension of farming and botanical industry to Minecraft. So we've got things like the bottler, the carpenter, the centrifuge, the fermenter. Forestry is what added bees. Forestry is what added the farm blocks. And it's a really good mod, and it's just great to see that it's been picked up again, because it needs to kind of be brought into the modern age of Minecraft modding. Forge microblocks. Basically, you can cut up blocks into smaller bits. That's its entire purpose. Gem blocks for Graeg. I like to say it, Graeg. I guess it's just different compression things. I've never actually used this before, but it's I think compatibility with the compressor. Sleepy time. Alright, so moving right along. Gendustry. Gendustry is about making bees more fun. That's my subjective opinion, by the way. I really personally don't enjoy bees. just because of how random they are. They can really drive you mad with how long it takes to get anywhere with bees, and Gendustry aims to improve that and make that more interesting and accessible, and it still takes a long time. But it's worth it. It is very much worth it, and we might look at bees, but I think we're going to be looking at it more as a observer, because I think another person is going to be doing the bees on this server, and we'll take a look periodically at what they're up to. We've got GRAEGified. We'll come back to GRAEGified. We've got Hardcore Ender expansion. I've not played this, and I really should have. After all, I am a Ender girl. And Hardcore Ender expansion is... So you know how in 1.8 Mojang added a extra dimensional slice to the end to make the end more interesting? Ender expansion did it first. Except it did it in the same dimension. And that's what it's all about. It's different dungeons and different things to do. There's all this like charm of power, charm of vigor. I don't know any of the stuff, so I'm like, your guess is as good as mine if you don't know what it is. But it looks really fun, and I can't wait to get into it, because it seems like a really awesome like adventure mod. And I'm all about the adventure mods. Extraction table, accumulation table. So it adds a little bit of tech as well. Those look like different enchantments. Basic essence, dragon essence, fairy essence, spectral essence. Alright, I can't even guess what those are. Next, hat stand. Lets you put hats on a stand. The hats mod by iChun. If I press H, I stick Direwolf 20 on my head. Done. Now I have Direwolf 20 sitting on my head. And so hat stand lets you put those hats, which you can pick, and put them on a stand and show them off that way. I've lost my place. Head crumbs. Head crumbs lets you get trophy heads from basically everything. If it's a mob, you can probably get a head from it. Like the Eldritch Guardian, rabbits, picks, ghasts, witches, mushrooms even. You can even get a Guardian head and an Elder Guardian head, because it backports from X Future. Basically just takes the heads from all the different mobs. It's cool. Also, it does add very dangerous mobs to the world, which are based on actual players. So that's a thing. Where did I put your head crumbs? There. We have IHL tools. Oh my god, this mod list has almost taken 30 minutes. This will be a longer episode. IHL tools, I don't know much about it. It looks really interesting. It looks ugly. No offense intended toward the creator. The models look cool, but I'm just not a fan of high-res textures in Minecraft, and that's why I'm just so brutally honest about that. Because I just think it looks out of place. But IHL tools come on brain, in terms of actual mechanics, seems like a really fun mod. One such thing is this here sack. This thing, Rubber Tree Sap Gathering Sack. If you know IC2 or GRAEGified, you know that normally you get it from something like this little yellowy thing, and then you tap the tree once and it gives you the sticky resin. Well, this collects that for you over time. And then you take that out of that sack and you process it from there. It's like automatic sap gathering. Very cool. I need to eat some sushi. Nom 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 nom. We also have Hunger Overhaul, which is why I'm losing hunger by just standing around talking to you. So that's IHL tools. There's a whole bunch of other stuff like this iron workbench, which has all sorts of things like you're going to need a bronze hand, or left, from what I can tell, is the tools you're going to need for the task. This one, I think, is the resources you need for the task, and then that gives you the output of what you want. And this here is the list of benches or whatever you're going to need. So it has its own crafting system, which is very cool, which is part of the reason why I'm interested in using it. So, after IHL, we have Immersive Engineering. This one is by Blue Sunrise, and Mr. Hazard. Mr. Hazard does all the art on the mod, and, well, most of the art. Blue does actually do a little bit. And Blue does all the programming. And it adds just really awesome machines. And I think if you go and watch my last 2 series of Forgecraft 2, you'll see a little bit of Immersive Engineering. But it's very, very cool. It includes a lot of multi-blocks, which I'm a big fan of, because I think we don't use enough space in Minecraft, considering about all the space that we have. And it has a very cool wiring system, which is non-linear. So by that I mean non-cardinal, sorry. By that I mean it doesn't have to go off in these directions. You can actually have like a connection running from, say, this block to this block in a line. So, you know. Moving on. Oh, it also has its own tools, like a hand drill and skyhook, which sounds really awesome, and revolver. Anyway, we have Industrial Craft 2, which is like the oldest mod in history. Probably not, but it is one of the oldest, biggest mods there is, hence the 2 after its name, and it's still going. Surprisingly. Has had it's a history which is about as complex as forestries, and it is the basis for GRAEGtech, basically. Although I think these days GRAEGtech is trying to separate itself from it just enough. It's all about the tech, by the way, if you hadn't gathered that. And then we have iron chests, which is just a way to upgrade your normal chests, the capacity of those chests as well. We have Jabber, which is a barrel mod. Kind of the very first barrel mod came from factorization, and then people were like, that's a really awesome idea, Neptune Pink, and they made standalone mods for it. And one of those is Jabber. And what a barrel does is it adds a storage which only stores one type of item, but it stores a lot of that item. Then we have Magic Bees, which is an extension, a magical extension, to forestry hives. And this one is actually a Magic Bees hive. There you go. And it adds elemental propolis. This also kind of like, originally, it was kind of like the crossover between forestry bees and Thaumcraft, but it is also deviated and become its kind of own thing, which is awesome to see. It produces its own resources which are useful in other places other than just Thaumcraft. We have Mantle, I think that's an API. We have Metallurgy 4. This just adds awesome different kinds of armor and metals, and it's pretty. It's kind of like its only purpose is to be pretty. Although it can be pretty powerful too. See what I did there. These later ones, like these Amodine and Illustrious and Sanguinite particularly, and Adamantine, wherever that is. Is that it? No, that's Vulcanite. There it is. Those metals turn you into a walking death machine, especially Tartarite. Then we have metallurgy chisel, which is a crossover for chisel and metallurgy. Lets you chisel metallurgical blocks into different textures, as you can see. Very cool. Then we have Minecraft, always the most important mod to have in Minecraft mod pack. Then we have Natura, which is another biome type mod thing, though this one kind of adds features to the existing world rather than creating entirely new biomes. And it also lets you make like all your basic stuff, like you've got your vanilla hoppers and your rails and your furnaces and stuff from nether goods, like nether furnace. Make it out of 8 netherrack. So you could effectively live in the nether if you wanted to. Blaze rail, stick and blaze rods. Hopper, blaze rods and chest. Blaze rods are obviously like the iron of the nether stuff. And then we have, oh boy, obsidian plates. That one, it just adds different kinds of pressure plate that react differently, and you can make them invisible and make no sound when you step on them. Open blocks, this is a variety mod, just adds a variety of cool stuff. Like, what should I talk about? Here, like the magic pencil. You can draw in the world like cartoon blocks, and you can only see those blocks if you're wearing the right kind of glasses, like a crayon glass or a blue crayon glass. If you're not wearing the glasses, the blocks just simply don't exist. If you are, they do. Very cool. Then we've got open computers. This is like ComputerCraft, except it is more often maintained, more often updated, and more, in my opinion, more fun to play with because you actually have to build the computers. As you can see, you've got all these different bits. If you go back to my first Minecraft single player series, you can see me do a little bit of ComputerCraft in that actually. Open computers, sorry. Whoops, faux pas. It's got a little more stuff than ComputerCraft does, but that's like, it's not any fault of Dan200s, it's just like this has an actual full team behind it rather than just one guy. Then we have Pam's Harvestcraft. This just adds like a world of cooking. From everything from kiwi jelly sandwiches to dim sum and Sunday roast, and like a million different kinds of crop, as you can see in front of me, although it's getting dark. Then we have progressive automation. This one is another one that I've only barely touched the surface of, but it's a very cool mod. It basically just lets you make, well, progressively better pieces of automation, like the wooden miner. It's a very useless mining machine, and a stone miner, which is slightly better, and then an iron miner, which is actually decent, and then a diamond miner, which is crazy. And then you've got all these different upgrades and stuff for them. So that's cool. And there's, what else do we have? We have the wood miner. Well, we have the miners. We have the choppers. We have the planters, the generators, the crafters, the animal farmers, and the killers. So there you go. And then we have railcraft. This one lets you build trains, train tracks. We're going to be doing that in the series because this train track needs to go somewhere, and I'll show you that in a second. Because we're actually finally getting there. Finally. Storage drawers. This is another one of those ones that were like, those barrels you put in factorization are really cool. I'm going to take that idea and build on it. Although I think this one was inspired by Java, so Java was inspired by factorization, this one was inspired by Java. This one adds all sorts of different little shell units and stuff, and we'll definitely be using those because I love them. If you look at, not my quote unquote current, because it is still technically current, Forgecraft series, but the one before that you can see me use storage drawers quite a bit actually. Then we have wood packs for both Biomes of Plenty and Natura for storage drawers. Then we have streams. Now I can't show you streams directly myself right now, but streams basically puts moving rivets into Minecraft. It's very cool. You will see some in the future, but just not today. Thumbcraft, Premier Magic Mod, basically. It's the one I think most people have heard about. I'm just going to try and go a little bit faster. Thaumic Energistics, it's a Thumbcraft Applied Energistics crossover mod. A Thaumic Horizons, another add-on for Thumbcraft, although this one I've never played with. Adds a bunch of stuff to it. Injectables, although that doesn't sound healthy. Transition amplifiers, soul beacons, soul forges, charred souls, quicksilver limbs, bunch of stuff. Losing my voice because I'm just chatting so much. That was Thaumic Tinkerer. Thaumic Tinkerer is one of the oldest of the Thumbcraft add-ons. It's just cool. I like it. Vazkey is the one that used to do Thaumic Tinkerer. I don't know whether she does it now. But it's still there and still usable. Botania uses a lot of the stuff that was in Thaumic Tinkerer, and that is totally understandable because it's made by the same person. Then we have Traveler's Gear. I've never used this one, but we've got Title Scrolls. It looks like it might be by Blue Sunrise. Adds Traveler's Gear, which go into these slots. Warp Book. I'm not sure what that does. How do you make it in the Star Blossom book? Alright. Witching Gadgets. Witching Gadgets is Blue Sunrise's Thumbcraft add-on. It's very cool. Does a whole bunch of awesome stuff. As I said, rushing. We have... Where's my favourite thing? Aspect Library. This one. The Aspect Library lets you access aspects even if you don't have any of them. That's useful for doing things like labeling jars, that sort of thing. And that's it. We're done. Whoa, mod list over. Only took 40 minutes. So yeah, I might put an annotation for those that want to skip straight to the content, although it'll be a short episode for them. Right, so where are we? This is Mining Base A. When I stepped onto the server, I said, look, you guys don't have enough Graeg going on. So I'm going to go get you some Graeg materials so that you can Graeg harder. And that's how we're doing things now. And this is Mining Base A. It is still growing. It is still in its infancy. The idea here is that you come into these mountains to Mining Base A here, and you go down the copper shaft or the redstone shaft or the iron shaft or the lapis shaft or the chalcopyrite shaft or the tin shaft. There's a whole lot more actually. I've turned them off. Aldermine, oil, sand, lignite, magnesite, soapstone, tetrahedrite, apatite, iron, redstone, bentonite, aluminium, a lot of magnetite, quartzite, uranium, bastonicite, etc, etc. So that's all around this area, and we will dig shafts down to them as we need them. But how to get the materials all the way to the main base, which is down here, and there's the farms you can see, is we're going to build a huge train track that comes down here and then goes along the coast and then comes down, or goes as far across as we plan. I don't know where we're going to put things yet. We haven't got to that stage yet. There's thousands of blocks in between. And as you can see, I do not have thousands of mine tracks. But that is the idea, as we go up and over the mountains and then down the coastline, and ship the goods all the way back to the base. So that's cool. So what needs to be done in Mining Base 8? Well, we need to build the track all the way back, which means that I've needed to set up some industry here. And in fact, I've set this up fast enough that this is the most well-equipped part of our server so far as it goes with doing Greek type stuff. So that's all your metal work and industry type things. All the farming goes on, as I mentioned, over here, and Cuts sits around in home base doing a lot of magic. That's how things seem to be so far. There's a couple of other people who play on the server. I'm not sure what they're up to. But what we need to do right now is that I need to improve this machine setup. Something that a set of Greg machines really needs, especially steam machines, well, only steam machines really, is a buffer, a steam buffer. But we don't have any liquid piping apart from Greg, really. So the idea is, how do we create a small tank that will store steam and then move that to the rest of the thing? Now, I have this Certus quartz tank, which I have made from 5 nether quartz dust and 4 pieces of glass, twice, for 8 pieces of Certus glass to make a Certus quartz tank. And that will store, I think, 64 buckets of liquid. But once it's in there, it needs to come out. And the only thing that we really have to do that is the GRAEGified pumps. And this will be our very first piece of tech. Now, it says LV on the end, which normally means low voltage, but pumps don't actually need to be powered. They are, however, complex to make. And I have been playing on the server for, I think I've put in about 11 hours so far, and I've only just got to the point where I can do this. Make a motor. To make the pump. Now that goes there, I believe. Yes, and then we need rubber rings, and we're going to make those now, which is why I have this mold plate, which we put into the alloy smelter, and we need two rubber sheets, and you make a rubber sheet out of 2 rubber bars, so we need 4. This does actually get cheaper as you go through GRAEGified. That's part of the awesome thing about GRAEGified. As that everything progresses and you get more resources and more bang for your buck. So we put that in there. We have 2 rubber sheets. And then we take those 2 rubber sheets and we take a kniffy. Alright, maybe not like that. One of these, there we go. And we get rubber rings. Hooray! That's the rubber rings done. Getting rubber, by the way, required me to get tree sap. Then the tree sap goes into, as you can see, I've got 2 of them, into this evaporator, which turns it into resin, which is this stuff. So you get sticky resin, then you take the sticky resin to the extractor. You put it in the extractor and you get raw rubber pulp or rubber dust. And then you use raw rubber dust plus sulfur in an alloy smelter to get rubber bars. And you get sulfur by going to the nether and digging a lot. And I'll explain next episode because it's a rant for another time. We don't really have the time now. Which is what puts people off GRAEGified when they're newbies a lot of the time. Is the very beginning of GRAEGified can be extremely off-putting. But as I said, It's a rant for another time. So our rubber rings, what do I do with them? I put them in here. Yeah. They go there. Cool. Now, pump. 1 tin cable. I need a tin plate, which goes like this, or I could put it in the hammer machine, but we're going to just do it with a hammer because it's faster. Then we do that, and we take our wire cutters, and we get 1 tin wire. Now, if that sounds expensive to you, 2 tin ingots to 1 tin wire, that's because it is very expensive. But as I said, as we move along in Greg technology, things get cheaper, and that's one of the first things that does get cheaper, because you make a machine called a wire mill, which lets you create a lot more wire for what you need. In fact, I can show you right now. If we go to our wire mill, we get 2 per ingot instead of 1 per 2 ingots. So much better. And I think with the extruder it actually gets cheaper at some point. It might be for the larger wires. So we have a tin cable. We take our tin cable, which we wrapped in cloth, and put it there. And then I need my wrench, my screwdriver, and I think maybe wrench, screwdriver, be good. Screwdriver, wrench. I think it actually goes like that. Yeah, big trip home. Alright, now this thing, we are going to rearrange back in this area, which I need my wrench for. Actually, those things need to go back to the other table. Not you, you. So we take our wrench, we break. Actually, I shouldn't have broken that one. What do I want to do? I might need more bronze. I have 12. No, I have 5. We're going to learn how to make bronze. So we take some copper. And we take some tin. I'll only do 2 at a time because it might take some time. I'll stick them in the macerator. See you in a sec. Right, I lied, I'm back. Macerator takes a long time, so we're going to speed things up. We're going to make a mortar and pestle. We're going to grind it ourselves. Oh. Yar. Sweet deal. We'll take those, those. I need 2 more. Right, we have copper dust, we get tin dust, and we get bronze dust. And now I will smelt them. I will smelt them so good. Just you wait. Smelt, I say. Smelt into delicious bronze. Now I'll be back. Okay, here we go. Why I need so much bronze? Because plates cost 2 ingots each, and I need 6 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wonderful. So we stick our plates there. We stick a hammer and a file. No. Hammer and a wrench. There. Wrong way. Different configurations give you different sizes of fluid pipe. We want the small one. So we have extra. No. Want it off without the wrench. So let's bring this up and over and soda tank. Alright. Looking good so far. It's not connecting weirdly. It is connecting weirdly. Does that actually work? Because if it does, I'll be very happy. Oh, it does. It's brilliant. This is marvelous news. Wait, it's not quite marvellous news. We need a gap behind here. So that's giant waste. That's okay. We can manage. We are instead going to do this like a messy person. Messy. Break you. That's a plate to stop these two connecting, because you do not want to put hot steam in a wooden pipe, it burns. Not joking. We stick that there, and we stick our pump here. Haha, as you can see it's spinning around underneath there. Can even see it better from there. And then we... What's that one doing? Oh, I had no idea. It was connected to the boiler for no reason. Alright. And we put more pipe. Unfortunately, Greg pipes tend to take up an entire block space. Very annoying. So now we have the system hooked up and we have a buffer, but that steam isn't going to go anywhere yet. I need to configure it. So I believe I use the screwdriver. Right tool for the right job. Import. Which I believe means you're going to suck steam straight out, which is excellent. That steam is being sucked into the tube system and filling up all these machines, as well as backstocking these tubes, which is exactly what we want. And I think it's full now. Yep. So all the new steam is now going straight into the tank, and we have a buffer. The buffer also allows us to tell how low on steam we are, which is something you can't do when you're working with solid metal tubes. Right. Now, last thing I'm going to do, because we don't need something there anymore that we did, is this bronze plate. No, full-size blocks. Get out of my way. Right. Okay. No. Yes. Bam. I said bam. You tear the plates off with a crowbar. Makes sense, right? Yeah. Give me that. Oh, this is going to make a mess. I don't want to make a mess. Give me. And let me out. Let me out. Let me out. Thank you. And so now I have my bronze plate back. Yes. So that water has been piped into the solar boiler. I can't pipe water into this. No, I didn't mean to do that. You can apply it to the sides of machines, by the way, now that you know. But I need that. Thank you. You can only manually put water into these steam boilers at the beginning. Solar boilers are an exception to that rule. So every once in a while I have to come along with my bucket and top up that coal boiler. So that wraps up our episode, I think. Yeah, did some pretty cool stuff. Believe it or not, this was 12 hours in the making. Alright, so next episode I'm going to build a lot of this railway, I think. We're going to start focusing on that now that we have our lovely buffer set up. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and thank you all for looking into this new series, and I will see you next time. Bye bye!